Hello, welcome to the rest of the news. This is Frank Simon, and our special guest today is Ed Holloway, a former state representative for a long time. One of the important things, we thought we'd list some of the problems. We got medical community is in shambles because of Obamacare. We're having trouble with drugs and terrorism because of our open borders. We're having trouble with our economy because of high taxes and unnecessary regulations. We have problems. We'd like to get rid of Planned Parenthood's funding. I think it's $3 billion that we give to Planned Parenthood of your money and mine. And, of course, the United Nations is getting, I believe, another $3 billion to just oppose everything the United States stands for. We need to rebuild our military. We need to get rid of ISIS. We need to protect Israel. And we need to get people on the Supreme Court. There's a lot of things, problems we need to work on. And I was thinking, how did we get all of these problems? Part of the answer is that you and I have not been involved in our government like we should have been.
Exactly. And it's a real problem. And it started about in the 60s. And each decade has got increasingly worse.
We can do more. You know, the Bible says that Christians should contend for the faith and that we should occupy until Jesus comes back. And it also says that we should rebuke the unfruitful works of darkness. We can do it, but we need to work at it. This lady that works in our office puts out an email about once a week, and all you have to do is click on the link or click on the action button, and it'll automatically send a letter to your congressman. It's very quick, very easy, and I think everybody ought to be on that email list so that you can be included in letting your voice be heard for what's right. So if you'll call our number now, which is 895-7700. 895-7700. We'll put you on that email list. You got to call in an email, either yours or your child's or your neighbor's or somebody from your church or your grandchildren. Get us an email address and we'll send you the latest updates on what's going on in Washington about every week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes every other week. But get that information to us, and we will keep you informed on what we can do to turn things around.
And as you mentioned earlier, ever since biblical times, the history of liberty and progress among the various peoples of the world have been remarkably a similar pattern. And very quickly, there's 9 steps. You go from bondage, when you were a slave, to having faith and believing in God and other than that.
Yes.
And that brings you understanding.
Yes.
And then it's followed by courage and then liberty. People rebel and we get liberty. But then with the liberty comes abundance. You're very successful. You think everything's wonderful. Complacency, you become self-satisfied and all the other things. And that turns into apathy.
Yeah.
And from apathy, you end up with dependency. That's exactly what the government is trying to do today.
Yeah.
And from dependency, you go back into bondage. So the cycle starts again.
We're going to push back, and we're not going to be complacent. Give us a call right now, 895-7700, and get on that email list. And with God's help, we're going to keep America strong. If you want to call in to be on the program, the number is 571-0970. That's 571-0970. There's a lot that we can do, and as Ed was just saying, we cannot become complacent. We've got to fight back. The Bible says we need to contend for the faith. Well, let's do it. So call that number, and we'll get you on the email list, 895-7700. Now, we have these Jesus bumper stickers. People maybe seen them around on people's cars and everywhere. So they're free, and we'll get you enough for your whole church as long as you don't go to Southeast Christian. where they want 10,000 of them. But we'll get you enough for your Sunday school class. So call that number, 895-7700, and we'll get you the bumper stickers. The other bumper stickers says, if we work together under God, nothing can stop us. We're invincible. Got another bumper sticker we're just now making. It says, I support President Trump. This is an article that says that there's hate America groups that are trying to make it against the law to fly the American flag. There was a veteran that flew the flag and said, oh, that might offend somebody. But really, the American flag is the ultimate symbol of freedom, equality, and the idea that our rights come from our Creator and not from the politicians or the judges.
Exactly. And this is a problem that we've had for a long time, and it's even increasing. But the problem goes back to the fact that we have neglected to keep it informed.
That's right.
That's the real bottom line.
Yes, we need you to call us right now and become part of the movement to take our country back. 895-7700. We'll get you a bumper sticker, get you on the email list, and with God's help, we can turn this thing around. Here's another article that says that at least 61 people who came to the United States as refugees engaged in terrorist activity between 2002 and 2016. That's a report from the Heritage Foundation.
Right. And ISIS and Al-Qaeda have all been working to put people into the United States and covering them with the normal groups of various refugees. And the FBI has been following as closely as they can, but it's overwhelming the number of people required to keep 24-hour surveillance on these individuals. It takes about 8 or 10 people, and we just don't have the personnel or the money or anything else to follow that. So it's up to us as citizens to keep our eyes open and notice this kind of thing. You look at Bowling Green, we had 3 terrorists arrested, and this is the kind of thing that's going on all over. Organizations of the socialists that are in, we had a meeting in Jefferson County. The Organization for Socialism 101 was held at the Louisville Pre-Public Library. All of these things are going on, and the G20 conference that's going on right now is a classic example of the protesters.
Our Mayor Fisher, said that he wanted to make Louisville a sanctuary city, which means people can come and break the law, and, that's okay. We have collected petitions to say, no, we don't want Louisville to be a sanctuary city because of all the crime involved in that. We're going down to Metro Council this Thursday to hand in our petitions and tell the Metro Council that we do not want Louisville to be a sanctuary city. So that's what we're going to be doing this Thursday, the 13th of July, 6 p.m. at the City Hall. Then the other thing is Mayor Fisher signed an agreement saying that he was going to try to push in, the Paris Accord on global warming, even though the president said he didn't think that was a good idea. But Fisher and a number of other city mayors are going to try to push that anyway. So, the environmentalists said there wouldn't be any civilization by the year 2010. They're just way out in left field. Hi, I'm Dr. Frank Simon. I'm an allergist and family doctor, board certified in both allergy and internal medicine. I specialize in allergy, headaches, sinus, hives, cough, asthma, hypertension, and diabetes. We're located at 1404 Browns Lane near Norton Suburban Hospital. Our phone number is 895-5088. We can see you tomorrow. What were you saying just a minute ago, Ed?
Well, we were talking about the thing with global warming.
Yeah.
All of this in the Paris Peace Accord and all of this of that. If you remember, and this is where people need to keep abreast of these kind of things.
Yeah.
If they look back to the 1970s, Earth Day was founded because of global cooling.
Cooling.
They were worried about all the ice, and a new ice age was coming. And
a new ice age, yeah.
And it was a part of the organization of the environmentalists. And now it's switched over.
This is the far left. Is 1 minute it's too hot, and the next minute it's too cold.
And at the same time, Al Gore and people like that have made a fortune out of it, millions of dollars, because of the fear factor and all the things that they could come up with that if it will stop the global warming and all. And it's absurd, but this is where people need to keep informed, and that's the main thing that's going on, because you got a shadow government that's out there where you got an inner circle of billionaires and elitists that want to destroy America. And one of the things that talk about democracy. Well, democracy was never a part of our founding fathers. They formed a republic.
Yes.
Because democracies don't work. It's government control. What we need to do is a government exists to protect us and our rights.
Yes.
And it's not to order your life. We've got this going on now, and we need to start establishing some government-free zones.
We were talking last week about this book by David Horowitz called Big Agenda, and he did a study, or reported on a study, that many universities are using our tax money to indoctrination centers for the far left. Okay, so our tax money goes for education. Instead of educating our children, they indoctrinate them.
And this goes all the way to grade school.
Yeah.
And elementary. And there's no greater long-term threat to our continued prosperity and economic liberty and freedom and the quality of life that the U.S. now enjoys than the pretext of all these tragedies of our government school system, and that includes the teachers' union, and it's even a greater threat long-term than the Islamic terrorist.
I believe the Constitution says that education should be controlled at home.
Exactly.
Locally.
And that's why they fought things like charter schools and all that.
Yeah.
We've had a very fortunate thing that the Kentucky General Assembly switched to a Republican group of leaders after 100 years of Democratic control, and charter schools and all those kind of things are now possible.
Yes.
It gives the control back to the individual.
Well, thank the Lord for that. Detroit, Michigan. It used to be the most prosperous city in America, and now it's under Democrat control
for the last 50 years.
And it's become a slum because of the Democrat policies of more and more taxes, more and more regulations, and now they've destroyed that. Detroit, Michigan is not the only city. Louisville is going the same way.
Right, and we've got a real problem there because almost over 12% of our population now are immigrants. It's going on in terms of the companies that cannot find employment, now hiring signs all over the place.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work because we've developed a welfare mentality. Right now, 21% of Kentuckians are on welfare.
21%.
And we got over 20% on Medicaid. The government that takes control and all of these things that live, and then the people become servants, and then they become slaves, and we're back into bondage.
Socialism is wonderful until you run out of other people's money.
Right, it can't sustain itself. It's
No.
impossible. This is the problem that they want, and that's worldwide control, a one-world government.
A one-world government.
And not have that until you destroy the freedom and the constitutional basis that the United States has had for a long time. It's been the lighthouse that people around the world have looked to. And until that is destroyed, all this other wonderful elitism will not work.
They got to get rid of the United States before they can have a one-world government, or at least bring it down. Mayor Fisher wants to make Louisville a sanctuary city. He wants to follow with the radical environmentalists and follow the environmental program at Paris, even though the president says, I don't think that's a good idea. So the far left wants a one-world government. You know, that's in the Bible, one-world government. The devil wants to be in control of the one-world government, and people are falling all over themselves to get in line to follow the devil. Here's the article that says, well, it lists all of the mayors that have signed up for local governments of sustainability, which is the Paris Accord. It's under the control of the United Nations. So here, again, with the one world government. We need to defund the United Nations. They're nothing but anti-America, and at least most of it needs to be defunded. So we need to work on that too.
President Trump is doing a good job of looking at this thing from a realistic standpoint, and he's making some stands. And we need to be in there backing, whether you like him or not as a person, what he's accomplishing and what he's able to do is a critical thing to maintain until and keep this thing from going down the tubes.
The number of people working is going up in America now.
Exactly. The business community is optimistic now for the first time.
Yeah.
But one of the problems, each one of these categories that we've talked about, has bureaucracy behind it. It has regulation after regulation that controls a government control over every company, everything else.
Yeah.
And that's the reason was not that they wanted to make more money going outside the country. That was their question of survival.
Hopefully they'll be coming back in now that America is becoming great again. Investors Business Daily, which is one of the top newspapers in the country, and they say as many as 5.7 million non-citizens say that they cast votes for President Obama's first election. There are lots of illegal voting and voter fraud. When they tried to pass a law in certain states saying, well, you had to have identification to register to vote. Well, Obama went down there, sent his people down there to fight that.
Exactly. At the same time, you have to have identification to get inside a federal building to qualify for your welfare. So it's kind of ridiculous. When we look at the voter fraud that Trump brought up to the question, the voter fraud, and you look at certain precincts and certain areas of the country where the voter turnout was greater than the U.S. Census said lived there.
Oh, please. The dead people were voting and everything. This voter fraud is a major problem, and here again, we need to write our congressman, call our congressman, email our congressman. You need to get on our email list. Call 895-7700 and give us an email address. We'll send you bumper stickers. It's all free. We have a tremendous DVD by David Barton on America's Christian heritage. So we can take this country back. Give us a call right now. You know, Ed, I was reading this article. The Democratic leadership is now openly stating its hostility to Christian and Catholic voters. The new chairman of the National Democrat Party, Tom Perez, actually said recently that pro-life Americans are no longer welcome in the Democrat Party.
Exactly. And as we said, talking about it earlier, that Ronald Reagan had said he was a Democrat, that he didn't leave the party left him, and that's exactly what's happened. And the elitists have taken over the control of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
Any semblance between what the Democrats used to be and what they are now is purely coincidental.
Someone told me that on the 4th of July alone, there were 100 people shot in Chicago.
Exactly.
Can you believe that?
And it goes on, and it's even, we have a problem there too, and it comes back to the racial question.
Yeah.
With things between the whites and the blacks.
Yeah.
And it's a serious situation that's been fomented by the liberals in order to keep that divide going.
Yeah.
And it's not a racial problem. It's a moral divide.
Yeah.
And we have to go back to get to where we can exchange and talk with. I talk with black people all the time. I grew up with a lot of black people.
Yeah.
And we friends and still are. But at the same time, they tell me what's going on in their community. And they, conservative blacks, are terrorized because there's nothing they can get any help from anybody in the government to control some of these situations. And they made a quick step this recently in forming that Young Blacks Academy.
Yeah.
And that is the first start of bringing them out of this system.
Yeah.
And what we've done in these public school system, it's a start, but they have a lot of problems and they need a lot of help.
God is moving. You know, there's an old song.
Exactly.
God still moves in the hearts of his people. We've seen a lot of miracles in the last year and a half. Here it says 23% of Democrats say they are pro-life. So now the Democrat leadership says, well, we don't want these pro-life people in our party. The Catholics usually vote Democrat, but 51%, I believe it was, voted for Trump. If they hadn't voted for Trump, he probably wouldn't have gotten in, because that's a lot of folks.
Exactly. But they are beginning to wake up to this.
Yeah,
situation.
everybody's beginning to wake up.
And it's one that needs to be built on and continue.
Yes.
And spread it. But I had a friend that is in the military. My best friend when I was in the military was a black man, and we had a lot of great things. We talked about a lot of things. And I got one that's still in the reserve that I know, and he had spent 3 deployments to the Middle East.
Wow.
And he said his parents still live in the West End, and he came home, and he said he felt safer in Baghdad than he did here.
Oh, my goodness.
And
wow.
This is the thing that's going on with a lot of the they were the ones that wanted charter schools.
Yeah.
The ones they finally got this thing pushed through the school board to have this academy for the young black men.
Governor Bevin and the Republicans pushed that through. The Catholic vote was very essential, and they say a lot of the labor union people were fed up with the empty promises of the Democrat Party, and they say, we're going to try something else. The labor vote that was a big factor in putting Trump into public office. And now they're getting their jobs back. I remember seeing a video about Obama, and he's trying to close down all of the labor unions in the coal mines. He wants to close all the coal mines.
This is all part of that global warming, the getting rid of fossil fuels.
Oh, please.
And now we're talking about automobiles that'll be run totally by electricity. And all you got to do is plug it into a nice, clean outlet.
Yeah.
But they have no concept, the average person, of where the energy comes from that goes into that.
On the other side of the plug.
And this is the ridiculous part of it, and the billions of dollars that people have made off of that fear.
We're going to take our country back, and we need you to call us right now, 895-7700, and give us an email address for yours or your children, your grandchildren, your neighbor, somebody from church, and let's get this all working together. All of the conservative people need to work together, and give us a call and give us an email address right now, 895-7700. You just leave your name, address, phone number, and your email address, and we'll be working together and communicating. You can email us, and we email you back, and we can take our country back. The Democrat, James T. Hodgkins, was from greater St. Louis area, and he's the guy that shot Congressman Steve Scalise in Washington, D.C. They found on him a list of other Republican leaders that he wanted to murder. That reminds me of the inauguration. Here's Trump up on the steps of the Capitol getting inaugurated, and then the camera switched over, and all the Democrats are down in the cities throwing rocks at police.
Exactly, and this is the same thing that's going on right now in Hamburg, Germany.
We'll also put you on the email list that goes out once a week with all of the important bills in Frankfurt, and you just click on the button, and the machine will automatically send out a letter, and you can modify the letter if you want to change anything in it. And we'll send you these bumper stickers, the Jesus bumper sticker, and Together Under God, We're Invincible. We're not going to sit back and let them take us all. Where are we?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. God bless you, Chris. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Here's this Democrat, James Hodgkinson. He's got a list of Republican leaders. He wants to go and murder them.
Exactly. He had prepared for this for a long time. He had everything. And the ironic part was he had just taken his car to a dealer to have it surged and oil change and all that, ready so he could make his trip home after he killed all these people. And it's just lucky that those officers were there at the time they were, and that they caught it like that. And the one that was injured continued to fight. It was just a fortunate thing, and he was eliminated at that stage.
Well, here's another letter I got. It says that there's a gentleman in Bashir, Bashir, who's the president of Somalia. he is trying to murder all the Christians over there in Somalia.
This has been going on for a long time. The Muslims are eliminating the whole portion of Christians who are in the southern part of that.
Unbelievable.
And we've been bringing over a lot of the, not the Christians, but the Muslims from Somalia.
Yeah, can you imagine that? The terrorists say, oh, come on in and kill some of us.
We had 3,000 from Somalia that came into Louisville in one of the first groups. And
That's
they brought
unbelievable.
with them, the ironic part is a narcotic called cat.
Yeah.
Khat. A narcotic that's very much like cocaine.
Yeah.
And they're circulating, and nobody knows in the law enforcement what it was. And a state trooper that stopped a car, some of the fresh stuff that was being shipped in here by UPS from the Middle East, looked at it and he said, "What are you all doing with all that rhubarb?" And our law enforcement are not being kept up to date with some of the things that are transpiring and coming in with these people.
This guy, there's so much evil. Then, like you say, these people are out to kill all the Christians in Somalia. Obama wants to bring them into Louisville so he can kill some of us. There's a lot going on. With God's help, we're going to take it all back. Ed, there's this article I saw. There was a lady who was a high school graduate, and they asked her to say something at the graduation. The school edited her comments and wouldn't let her say anything about God, most certainly not to recite a prayer. They said, oh, no, we don't want you to pray. And on June 13th, 2017, the First Liberty Institute, a group of conservative lawyers, took up her case and tried, and that was just lately that they're saying, oh, no. We passed that law, Senate Bill 17 here just a couple of months ago. We can pray in Kentucky schools because they passed the new law, Senate Bill 17. We are looking for people who will present these courses. We got a course from Answers in Genesis, Kim Ham. We're looking for people that would like to have these courses. They're free, and you can teach them in your vacation Bible school or your Sunday school class, or teach them in your home and get your children used to these courses. And then they can take them to the principal and teach them to the schools. Just call that same number, 895-7700. Leave your name, address, phone number, and tell them you're interested in what they call Truth Warriors. Truth Warriors. That's what we call the group that's trying to put these courses back in the public school. Courses on creation science, courses on American history, and all the things that have been censored out of the public schools. We're now going to try to put them back in.
Exactly, and this is the problem. We've had a bit of talking about freedom of speech and all the other things that are under attack.
Yeah, freedom of speech. They don't want that. Now, here's a coach who was a Marine, and he was a football coach, and he wanted to kneel in silent prayer after the game. They said, oh, no, we're going to fire you. We want to thank Ed Holloway for being here with us, and thank you for listening. God bless you.